Thank you to Mixed Door Car Accessories for sponsoring today's video. All links will be down in the description below. Go check the website out. They got a bunch of stuff for 11th gen Civics. Let's get into it. The cameras go over here, attached by an RC. The whole screen is working. In part one of the installation, I did not finish the 360 camera. That's what I'm gonna finish today. I did install the backup camera in that video. So today, I'm gonna install the one up front, the one on the passenger side, and I have already installed the one on the driver's side because I wanted to know what I was talking about when I was talking to you guys. So let me show you what I did on the driver's side, then I'll take you through a whole walkthrough on how to do the passenger side, and then I will show you how to do the front. As you can see, the vents and the head unit are back out again. You have to take the door panel off to take the mirror out. There's three 10mm nuts. I still have the cap off. Might be hard for you to see, but I have the camera taped up because I made a little boo-boo. I actually made the hole a little too big. I probably should have put the pilot hole back here a little bit further. But again, that's why I wanted to make the mistake first. That way, when I show you guys how to do the passenger side, I don't make any mistakes. So what I did is I just taped it up really good, put some JB weld in there. I'm gonna let that sit. That's actually why I haven't put the cap back on. I wanted to feed it through the rubber grommet, but there is a harness on the other side of this, so you can't do it. So what I did is I just pulled the bottom of the grommet out and then ran the wire through this grommet right here that I already have a wire going through. So that was actually very easy. Ran it up underneath the dash, up through the vent. Well, not the vent, but up through there, up behind the stereo, and it's good to go. Let's get this passenger side started, because as you can see, it is already 1:45 in the morning. I have been at this since about 10 o'clock at night. I have been up since 5:30 in the morning, and by the time I get this done, I'm gonna be awake for over 24 hours, so it's gonna be a long night. So I'm just gonna record it. I'll voice over it later. Let's get this door panel and mirror off the car. I've walked you guys through how to take the door panel off a bunch of times. Take the window switch out, take the screw out, pop the door panel off. I highly recommend taking the cap off the mirror while it is on the car. Unplug the harness, pull the grommet out, start peeling back the water barrier from the door so that you can access the three nuts. Three 10mm nuts. One is in that little hole right there. The other two are in the bigger hole. Pull the mirror out. There's where you want to drill your pilot hole. You're going to go from the inside. Then you're going to take the whole bit they provided and start from the pilot hole from the outside. You're going to have to go through 2 layers. Take the grommet, put it in the hole, and then feed the camera through the grommet. That way it seals properly. Peel the weather strip back from the mirror. Because you're gonna have to drill a hole through there. Run a pilot hole from the outside. And as you go bigger bit, bigger bit, bigger bit, bigger bit, because you don't want to start from the biggest bit because you'll end up breaking it. I believe I finished off at a 5/16. Feed the wire through the hole that you just drilled out, and then take a screwdriver or a pick and pick a hole through the weather strip for the mirror, and then feed the wire through that hole. Then install the mirror back on. Put the three 10mm nuts back on. Now I plugged in the main wire just to make sure that the thing worked, and thank goodness it worked. I took a big zip tie, cut the end off of it, electrical taped the wire to it, and that's what I'm using to feed this wire through everything. There is an interior post. You have to feed both wires around it or the window will be in the way. Take that red wire, wind it up, tape it together because you really don't even need it. Pull the grommet out of the A-pillar, cut it up like a pie, that way you can feed the wire through, no problem. And then if you have to do it again, you can do it again, no problem. Pop the bottom of the main grommet out of the door, feed the wire through the bottom of that grommet, and then feed the wire through the grommet that you just cut the slices through. Okay, there's a piece of foam back there that I didn't know was there. Run the wire up to the dash part, and then you're gonna feed it the whole way through. Pull it up the whole way through, plug it in. And then it's just putting everything back together. Both the mirrors are done, doors are put back together. I'm actually gonna leave the dash just the way it is for right now until I get the front one ran. Let's pop the hood, get underneath that thing. It's already 3 hours from the last time I talked to you about time. I actually had a heck of a time getting the hole drilled for that wire. It took me about a half hour, because to not break anything, yeah, you gotta take your time. So my plan is to put the camera right here, right under the H in the grill. I think I can do it without pulling the bumper off. I might just have to pull the tabs up here to pull the bumper back a little bit, feed that wire through, and I might be okay. So they supplied us with 2 very small screws and 2 small screws, plus this little mounting bracket. On the camera, there is 2 little holes here, just like the backup camera was. So I'm gonna take this bracket and the 2 little screws and mount it to the camera. There's 2 other screws, one right here. We need to drill the holes up under here. It will only go on one. I did it again! Same little screw, just a different video. Oh, where'd it go? Well, while I'm screwing this other one in, I'll look for it. Found it, rolled halfway underneath the car. I don't know if you can see it, but there is an arrow pointing up. That is the direction that this camera needs to go in. So instead of removing the bumper, what I did, I took a smaller zip tie. I bent the angle right here. The reason I did that is because to fit it through the hole and to get it up through here, there's not much room. So for me to be able to grab it, I had to bend it right here. And then I had to tape it on the short end. That way this will still fit through the hole. So I verified that the camera worked, mounted the camera. Now it's time to run the rest of the wire. The really nice part is there's corrugated wire for what's going to be under the hood. I'm gonna run this through the same grommet that I ran the driver's side wire through. I already have another wire in there, so that makes 2. This is gonna be 3. I hope it fits. Now when you do this, make sure you have the wire and everything back behind the main grommet and back behind the door latch, if that's what you want to call it. It's not the latch, but the thing that, I don't know, whatever. Had to break the big zip tie out for this one, trying to get it up through the dash. Not gonna be able to do it with a little one, plus this one's a little bit more sturdier. Shouldn't have a problem. Everything's plugged in, it's time to get it back together. Couple final touches. And we are done. The install is finally completed. It is 6:53 in the morning. I have been up for about 25, 26 hours now. I had an energy drink at 3 a.m. It's helped out, but it's wearing off. So I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna take a nap, get something to eat, and then I'll be back to go over the head unit with you, show you the cameras. I know I went over it in the last video, but I have some gripes that I wanna talk to you about, but they might be fixed now that all the cameras are hooked up, because it was mainly going into the backup camera that I didn't like. The couple Bluetooth issues, I'll go over that with you here momentarily. In fact, and I'm back. I got some food, I took a nap, feeling fresh, feeling clean. Let's get talking about this. Now, I'm really not gonna go over the head unit itself. I'm just really gonna talk about the cameras. And my main gripe was going into reverse, which I will show you right now. That is fixed. It pops up right away. It used to take about 10 to 15 seconds, but now it's immediate. And I kind of figured it was because of all the other cameras not being hooked up. So let's go to the other cameras. This bottom button with the car on it with the 2 arrows, that is your cameras. You can move this around if you so choose. I chose to keep it in the bottom left-hand corner. Where you at? Come here. And then this button here you can move to. I just chose to throw that up top. Let's go to the cameras. There you go. There's the 360. Well, I am in 2D at the moment. There's the front, rear, left, right, right, and left. And then the settings. We'll go over the settings here in a second. So here's 2D, 3D. And it has the front. You hit rear, it flips to the rear. You hit the side, it'll go to the side, either side. And then it won't do it for both sides because I don't know. It just won't. Go back to 2D. I prefer to stay in 2D. That's just how I feel. But we're going to go back to 3D because we're going to test something out here. But we are going to go flip it around to the rear, and we're going to come up here to this little landscape up here in the right hand corner. You can change the brightness, the contrast, the shadows on all 4 cameras. The second button here, you have your dislocation, your bump for your front center, rear center, left center, right center. And then you have your left front gap, your right front gap, your left rear, and your right rear gaps. Then once you just mess with them, you hit save. So here, the dislocation, I'll show you here. Look over here on the left-hand side. See how the front kind of got weird? So I'm just gonna kind of keep that in the center, just like that. And the bump, keep it up top. Just kind of keep that in the center too. And it does it for all cameras. And then this third button here just puts the camera down there in the corner. So if you're driving and you want to see it, There you go. Now to the settings. So in model set, you have update authorization, car model, which car model, you have to be hooked up to the network to do it. You have your color, tracking, display mode, left or right, car model zoom. The car model zoom is just that little car that you see on the screen here. You can make it bigger or smaller. 2D rear view ruler line, I keep on, radar off. And then over here on the right, you have car, SUV, MPV, and then there's 3 other ones, which I don't know where they came from, but they're the same as the MPV. So I'll click the MPV, I'll go back, and as you can see, it's a little MPV. SUV, it's an SUV. And then just go back, I'm just gonna go back to the car, and it's the car. Angle set. This is where you can choose your angle for your cameras. You have panorama, front limit width, X and Y, so you just tap it and you see how it moves. So I'm just going to stick it with where the orange line is, and the Y moves up or down. 3D facade, here you go, you can flip it around, raise the height. Then you have your front zoom, your rear zoom, your left zoom, and your right zoom. I have mine set to exactly where I want them, and they're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually pretty good. Then you go to the car set. This is where you have a bunch of different options. Plate settings, trigger when turned on, pip trigger when turn and speed over 30 kilometers, trigger when double flash, trigger when you receive radar info, trigger when door open, trigger if speed drop to 20 kilometers, exit if speed up to 30 kilometers, trigger pip if not in reverse, hide track if not in reverse. After output delay, trigger pip if speed is less than 30 kilometers, output delay, speed, show floating button. There is so many options here though. You have your record set. So I don't know if you just plug in a USB into the USB port down here and you could record it like a dash camera. I'd assume. Maybe I'll do that one day. And then the parameters, you have splice, import, export, default, activation, info. So that's the cameras, and honestly, it's actually pretty good. I mean, I'm not really that big of a 360 guy. It doesn't really matter to me too much. But as far as like recording as like a dash camera, then that's another story. Now, my only other complaint with this is the Bluetooth sometimes. Now, I am already connected, but if, let's say, I am not in the car previously and my daughter was in the car, right? So I go here, as you can see, I'm connected, but I'm not connected half the time I get in the car after my daughter. So that is my only complaint. I just have to reconnect to the car, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. That is the full overview of the Android Premium head unit and the 360 cameras. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. And I already ran something else to this head unit that you will see in the next video. That way I didn't have to take it out again. Thank you, Mixstore, for sponsoring this video. I hope to collaborate with you more in the future.